with all due respect, this idea is just straight up bad. That algorithm is busted.
Busted?
It's among the worst ideas I've ever heard.
Top 5, easily.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking. You're saying what I'm thinking. This is trash.
Holy shit, guys! Shit! Fuck, guys! We gotta record this like right fucking now. Oh, you got
Oh shit!
Your mic set up? Aaron,
Yep, I'm ready. Is
okay.
it plugged in? Yeah, it's plugged in. Fuck.
Okay. Do you have any furniture to put your equipment on, Aaron?
No. I got nothing. I'm in an empty room besides a mattress on the ground, like
Aaron,
a real podcaster.
Take a seat on the toilet and get your ass ready.
Okay.
Oh fuck. Okay. Welcome to the Bargain Binge podcast. I'm Dylan, your host of the Bargain Binge podcast, and with me, as always, is
I'm Space Jam 2. Get ready to talk about Space Jam 2.
And also,
Looney Aaron, Looney Tunes.
We've made an incredibly awful mistake. We've decided to record a podcast within a week of releasing it, and that is so much pressure. The clout chasing just it blew up in our face. We thought,
Everything's falling apart.
We know, we're going to record an episode and it's going to be relevant to something people might like be looking up or whatever. No, fuck that, you know.
I want to go back to talking about TV movies no one's seen.
Why can't things be like they used to?
We've gone too far with this.
Yeah, I only have 3 days to cut out all of the awful moments in the podcast. You know, where Evan mumbles for 2 minutes before he makes a point, or Aaron slams his microphone against a wall and hits it with an elbow drop, or I say the complete wrong word 5 times. So, I mean, just puts it into light. Appreciate the work we do. We are the greatest podcasters of all time. And you might think, oh, maybe you're not, if this is crunch time for you. But you're wrong. So,
no, we're factually the best of all time.
So yeah, we're talking about Space Jam 2. Isn't that nice? Do you feel
it's not nice?
Do you regret it as much as we do?
All media from the day that they created the film camera was leading up to this shit.
I mean, absolutely. It's a combination of all cinema throughout all time. And this is a treat because we actually watched this movie all together in one room at a theater. That's right. The cinemas are back, people. Get to them. But we were going to record this in person. And then a friend we have whose name rhymes with even and shares similar namesake with a Shia LaBeouf character from a Disney Channel show in the early 2000s, set us completely off track, and here we are with our dicks in our hands at 11:30 p.m. talking about Space Jam 2, A New Legacy.
A movie I saw almost a week ago now.
Yeah, I have to try to remember what happened in this film that the people with us fell asleep during.
Oh, God, but that'll be for later. We'll, as we always do, talk about movie things we've watched recently with our regular segment brief reviews. Evan, what have you seen recently?
Well, guys, I watched F9 in theaters.
Hell yeah.
It was my first Fast and the Furious movie.
What a great entry point.
It's a weird entry point, yeah. Having no prior knowledge of the franchise, the characters, anything. And I guess I didn't grasp how far the franchise has come from its humble beginnings as a street racing movie.
Just a normal action film, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, Point Break, but with cars.
I didn't realize that they're like super secret agents and perform, death-defying missions across the globe.
Well, they don't have to defy death because they're incapable of dying.
Yeah, there's a meta joke in there about that. One of the characters is like, I don't think we can die. And they were like, oh, you know what? You might be onto something. And he's like, yeah. And they're like, nah, just kidding. You're stupid. Shut the fuck up. And that was the bit.
The weird part is that like no one proves him wrong at the end, but they still are like, no, that's not true.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a weird interaction. But I mean, I thought the movie was fine.
It's fine.
It had a lot of big, dumb, stupid, lizard-brained set pieces that made me, it was entertained. That's something. Yeah. I mean, I like John Cena. He's fun.
Yeah, he's good as an actor.
I'm kind of struggling to even like think of other elements of the movie.
I guess just the theme with the recent releases is they just go in one ear and right out the other, huh?
Yeah, dude, this year so far has been the year of 5 and 6s out of 10s. I swear that's what I rate every single thing I watch that comes out this year.
Yeah, I just, 9 is like, okay, they're out of ideas. This is where they stop having ideas. That's what I felt when I was watching it.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it was weird having no prior knowledge of any of the other movies, but despite that, I think I still felt the same way. It was kind of like, okay, I don't know. It seems like they don't have anything new to bring to the table. But like for what the action was, it was fun. I mean, they go to space. That's something new, I guess.
I guess. It's not really fun when they're in space, though.
No, particularly that
space.
One. Yeah, getting to space is like the fun part, I guess. But once they're actually there, it's just kind of like whatever.
I think it's really interesting that Tokyo Drift was a flop that people didn't really like, but Universal invested in it and was like, yeah, the guy who wrote this, the guy who directed this, they're gonna make all of them. The ones who made this weird spin-off one that people didn't like, and they're gonna be the people from now on. And somehow that was the correct choice.
Yeah, it's just a weird franchise overall, because the first one is its own movie, it stands alone. And, you think it would just, slowly build toward the nonsense, but, there's just a full 2-movie breakaway from, the story at large, because 2 is, it's a bad movie, but also it's just, what does this have to do with anything? And then 3 takes that even further, and it's just about completely different people.
Yeah, I think Paul Walker's just trying to stop, a drug kingpin or something.
Yeah, something like that.
It just has nothing to do with anything and just kind of sucks. And Tokyo Drift also doesn't, except Vin Diesel's in it for 1 second. And then the guy who was 27 or playing a 16-year-old in it is now 40 playing a 16-year-old still. Because technically that movie happens now in the timeline.
Oh yeah, the timeline is completely fucked. It's insane. They decided where Tokyo Drift was going to be after the fact, and it's you could have not done that, actually.
Yeah, I think Justin Lin did it just so that his buddy could still be in the movies, because he dies in that one, and then but then he dies again anyway, and then he's brought back anyway again. So I don't know.
That's
I don't know
every
if you need
character.
to damage the timeline. Yeah, that's all the characters.
Everyone has ironclad contracts, and they're going to be in these movies until the heat death of the universe. Even after they die,
their likenesses will be used. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many do you think they're going to stop at 10?
No.
I don't know. 10 just seems like a good number to stop at.
Yeah, every time you think there's a good, nice number, no one ever stops if there's a franchise that makes a shitload of money.
No, because usually what happens is that when you say something's the last one, it causes people who haven't shown up for a couple to come back.
Yeah.
And then it makes more money, and the studio goes, wait, this made more money, people still want this. And then they make another one or two. Yeah, it's never the case.
Yeah, Jason's final chapter came 1 year before the next movie, so
and isn't that 4?
Yes.
4 of 10.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It was pretty funny watching Vin Diesel run around in a blank white t-shirt with a assault shotgun. I don't know what something about that just made me laugh. He's just shooting nameless, faceless cronies of the foreign government, whatever country they're in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's weird how much Dominic Toretto is like a person in the first one and how inhuman he is now.
Yeah. Because this one sparked a lot of the like family memes.
You mean Universal paying people sparked the family memes?
Yeah, because
No, grassroots movie.
Absolutely legitimate.
he barely even mentions like family in this one. I think he says it like once. So, because I was expecting it to be emphasized a lot more for all that all those memes that came out, but
yeah. Well, I think Universal was like, what's the one thing people latch on to making fun of in the other ones, and then they paid out their ass for family memes that got old after one day.
So I don't know, they're just stupid. If you like I said before, if you just have like a lizard brain, then you can watch these.
Yeah.
Fine.
I have a lizard brain and I enjoy most of them.
Yeah, all the folds in my brain have receded over time, and it's a complete globe up there. So plug me in for F10 or whatever the fuck they're gonna call it. Fast 10 Furious, the most ever 10.
No, it's Fast 10. Or wait,
Fast 10 Furious.
The Furious.
No,
the 10 is the and.
Yeah.
Fast 10 your seatbelts.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's really good. Yeah, we should pitch that
Fast
one to Universal.
10. I think I could get that on the poster as like a tagline.
That's too good to pass up. Yeah, we'll be in the theater for that. But what did I watch recently? I watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And
okay.
this one just like stuck out to me because this one is like kind of, in the trilogy, the original trilogy of Indiana Jones movies, it's kind of like the black sheep. People don't highly regard it because the other two, I mean, yeah, I agree, are much better movies, but it's still at least a good movie. And it was just weird watching back because it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, I rewatched it like a year or two ago, and I hadn't seen it in like years before that. And I was pleasantly surprised at how much I liked it on the rewatch.
Oh, the technical filmmaking's like incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
I also like that Harrison Ford's just wet the whole time.
He's very sweaty.
Sweaty. Yeah. It's fun. I remember when I was a kid, my grandma like watched those with me, and then she got upset when they get their heart ripped out or whatever. And she didn't want me to watch them anymore, which I guess was like, a lot of parents in the 80s, because that was like the first film to have they created the PG-13 rating because of Temple of Doom.
And Gremlins,
Gremlins.
Yeah, it's like, it stands out as like the darkest entry in the series. And like some people dislike it for that reason, and other people like it for that reason. But also, so like I was looking into it, and it's like, oh, George Lucas wrote a really dark script for this. And then Steven Spielberg, like while shooting, was making changes to it to lighten it up. And those are the parts that turn me off about the movie. Because I think I lowered my opinion after watching it this time. I still think it's a good movie. I still like it. But like, I don't know. The comedy stuff is so strange and like out of place. And like so many people working on it were like put off by how dark it is. Lawrence Kasdan turned down writing the script because he didn't like George Lucas's story. And it's like, I think that the movie would be better if it just committed to that. Because it feels like a one-off thing. And I think it would be like really cool if it were like just Indiana Jones. Because people, very rightly so, I think, find Willie and Short Round annoying. They're like the sidekicks for the movie. And I feel like those just come like with the idea that Indiana Jones needs sidekicks from the first movie. It's like, I don't think that was necessary. Because it is so dark. And like most of the time when the actual action's happening, the sidekicks don't do anything and they're just there. So like if this was a dark, gritty, It sounds like a Reddit comment right now. It's pitching a reboot for something stupid, but I don't know.
Don't give them any ideas for Indiana Jones 5.
Are you trying to tell me that George Lucas is not some kind of troglodyte that needs others to hold his hands at all times and didn't actually make Star Wars somehow?
Yeah, I think that if they just stuck more to George Lucas's script, that it would be better. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I guess I am implying that George Lucas does have a functioning brain.
The man knows how to tell good stories.
Yeah.
There's just no two ways about it.
Yeah. He's like a large part of why people, the things that people like about Indiana Jones are in Indiana Jones.
Apparently, George Lucas not only was the editor on Temple of Doom, but all of these movies.
I didn't know that at all.
Except for the fourth one. Apparently, he's edited Raiders, Last Crusade, and Temple of Doom.
Yeah, as I've been watching them, like something that hit me is how good the editing is. So that's good on you, George.
I didn't know. I mean, he did it with one other person, but it's just two people.
Yeah, I mean, congrats, George. Aaron, what have you watched recently?
So I watched I Think You Should Leave by Tim Robinson, or starring Tim Robinson, or featuring Tim Robinson, or some combination thereof. It's a sketch comedy show from a guy who likes to make fucked up alternative comedy shit. It's just like a series of gags that are primarily just built around one person being like an unbearable piece of shit. And then people reacting to that. And then normally there's like a twist 50% of the way through that like changes the context of what's going on in a weird way. And then normally it just kind of ends.
Yeah,
it just kind of stops happening.
It's what, like, I guess when you describe it like that, it kind of sounds like what SNL is trying to do. Mm-hmm. But then they do stuff like, the twist and then it just keeps going for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and someone's doing an impression that's bad or something.
But instead, the entire episodes of this are like 15 to 18 minutes long. So, when they're split across usually like 4 sketches, things don't run very long. And if they do run long, it's like for the purpose of them becoming like upsetting and weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like the surreal style of it. I think it's astonishing how much, like, I know it's weird, it makes me sound like a child, I guess, but I was shocked by how much people swear in it for some reason. People are just like, oh, you fuck, you dirty fuck, every like 5 seconds.
Any of these little fuckers ever pop out of the fucking wall and say, fuck, there's a horse cock in my room, or a donkey dick?
I guess I'm just used to sketch comedy always being like a network television thing.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because I was going to mention that, like, if you're a fan of, like, the heyday of weird alternative comedians getting their own show on Comedy Central that only lasts a season or two, like the Kroll Show.
Oh, yeah.
Or Dimitri Martin's show.
John Benjamin Has a Van.
The best show ever created, possibly.
Yeah, watch it, please.
If you like miss that, this is that in like its purest form, because it doesn't have to adhere to network requirements for a TV show. They can do whatever the fuck they want, and that's like the thing that is beneficial about streaming. It's not taken advantage of very often because they're still gunning for syndication, but this is what streaming can be.
Yeah, it can be a place to let like interesting people create interesting content instead of allowing Don Cheadle as Algae Rhythm to determine everything you make, as Netflix has been doing for several years. I was just like really surprised because I never fucking like Netflix content anymore. So it's just astonishing to sit there for a couple hours and just enjoy myself. Even the sketches that I thought were like, they're not like full misses, but just stuff that didn't really hit me, I like was interested by and was like, oh, I get why you do this. They had like interesting premises or elements. I believe it's in season 2. They have the guy who played Richard Jewell, the like big weird guy who plays Richard Jewell, and he does a sketch.
I think that's not just Richard Jewell. That was an actor.
Sorry. Is it like that train movie Clint Eastwood made? They used the real Richard Jewell.
Turns out it's not a good idea to cast real people.
It's like how a real mule played Clint Eastwood in The Mule.
Richard Jewell was in a sketch that got me really bad, where he fucking goes to like this like poker hangout with like his buddies from work or whatever, and they're all just making constant like, my fucking whore wife, my stupid bitch wife comments, and like all laughing about him and stuff, and then he just kind of makes one, and then you see his face drop and him feel like absolute despair in his heart. And then he just flashes back to like his wife being supportive of him throughout their like marriage. And we here at the Bargain Binge podcast, we the Bargain Fellas, make a lot of jokes about anti-wife like humor as being the lowest, worst shit in the world.
Yeah, well, my damn wife keeps asking me to mention her on the podcast. So I didn't just do it to spite her.
Damn.
Because wife.
She's always like
growl.
She's like always nagging you to like, be happy and achieve your dreams. What a fucking. And I felt like the people who write that show like were on the same wavelength as me on like a deep level, and I was so just happy to look at that.
Yeah, I feel like they do observational, like observing a type of person, like
yes.
The infamous new guy discovered. They do that pretty well. Like, okay, yeah, that is a cartoon of a person I've met in real life and I've been stuck on a plane having to listen to and stuff like that.
They just usually find a way to change it halfway through that like works. And when they don't, it's just to drive home how uncomfortable the current scene is.
Yeah.
And it all just works. I really like the show. I'd highly recommend it. If you have a Netflix account, which every single person on Earth does, click on it and don't watch anything else on the entire service. Thank you.
Just get that trial and watch season 1 and season 2,
it's
and you're
like,
done.
It's like 4 hours of total content or
shit
less.
In the trash.
Well, speaking of being stuck on a plane, so recently I traveled out to my place of origin from the dry Southwest, and I will remind you, it's a dry heat here. Just keep that in mind.
What kind of heat is it again?
It's like it's as hot, but it's a dry heat. So
Okay. So it's fine.
So it's not like a humid heat. It's like
yeah.
Oh.
It's
But
the
yeah, so I
opposite of
went
a
back to the humid heat, and I rejoined the Bargain Fellas for a wonderful. Well, okay, I'm preempting myself with lies, but we took a trip to Pittsburgh, and I just want to discuss a little bit how much I hate the city of Pittsburgh, and I think I've recruited another 2 people into my hate train for the worst city on planet Earth.
I mean, it's among the worst I've ever been to. It's just like shittier New York. It just like wants to be New York, and that's it.
Yeah, if you take the worst parts of New York and the worst parts of Philadelphia, and then just like make everyone spit chewing tobacco onto your shoes, you got Pittsburgh.
It's just like, I don't know, something about it just is completely off-putting to me. And it doesn't help that, like, as you're entering the city from, I don't know, wherever, just like driving through, like, it's just has this hellish German expressionist uncomfort that it puts into you with, like, the way that like buildings overlook over a hill, and then there's a deep pit into the river, and it's just like it feels like a Mega Man level or something. It's fucked up.
No, you can see why Christopher Nolan decided to turn it into Gotham in The Dark Knight Rises, because it's just fucking horrifying. You don't have to set dress that shit. It's just there, man. It's just fucked.
And luckily,
you feel like you're in prison.
I mean, Ghost Stillers, cinematic representation of
Ben
Stillers.
Stillers? Ben and
The Fockers
Stiller's
is
dad?
what the... I would really like a football team called the Fockers. And their mascot is a lactating Robert De Niro.
Okay.
So, let's never speak of this place again after today.
Pittsburgh. Okay, well, yeah, we're lucky enough to not stay in the city proper, but we were coming from something else, so we pull into town like extremely late.
Oh yeah,
at like 2 a.m. and we pull up to our Airbnb, and we just keep going on further back roads, just like until there's nothing surrounding us. We've made it past all the shitty liquor stores and bounce castle shopping malls, there's places where you pretend to skydive because there's a fan in the floor and stuff. And then we find ourselves in the backwoods of the greater Pittsburgh area. And it is one of the scariest settings I've witnessed.
We had to basically drive up a sheer cliff.
Literally a 30-degree angle up a hill.
Yeah. I was driving. I was actually very scared. I've never driven up an incline that steep before, and thank God I was using a 4-wheel drive vehicle that I was borrowing, because I drive a 04 Honda Accord, and I don't think she would have been too happy going up that hill. But it's just it was just spooky. We got up to the house. All the lights. There was not a light anywhere because it's in the country and there's no street lights, or it's not next to any other houses really. And it's just we just kind of. I remember sitting there in the car, and we all didn't want to get out. We were like, "Oh God!"
Oh, fuck.
Well, and it's a location where if you somehow got the wrong address, you will be shot. You're going to die.
Oh, absolutely. That is Pennsylvania in full effect in that area. And we ran like little girls, and we had to leave the headlights on to go inside. But the real horror is what lied within this house from the 1860s.
Yeah, we went straight from the frying pan into the fire.
Truly, because we walked into a house that looked like it was deliberately set dressed to be a horror movie.
Every single object was slanted. It was all Dutch, man.
Yeah. All the picture frames on the wall, all the pieces of art, everything was crooked in a weird way. All the decor was, probably about as old as the house, which, as Dylan just said, was from the 1860s or 70s, 100-year-old house. And it was just I was okay, so, if we don't get murdered by a person, we're going to get murdered by a spirit, because this place is definitely haunted.
And also it's just aggressive. It is 74 degrees, and our Airbnb host, who presumably is secretly Dr. Caligari, has a timer set so you can't change the temperature for more than a set period of time. So we are dying on top of being haunted by these ghosts, because as soon as you walk up the stairs, there is a framed child's dress. No context, just a framed child's dress. And that just kind of set the tone for everything else.
Yeah. There's creepy portraits of children as well.
Yeah. I entered my bedroom, and there's just a portrait or just image of a baby with horror eyes just looking at you. And it's how am I supposed to sleep with that? And I just flipped it around immediately. Because, what kind of psychopath can live like that?
And I think the most scary decor of them all was memorabilia from the film Cats.
That was crazy. I don't know whether that was the host who put that there or maybe a guest left it, but yeah, they were on sitting on top of the refrigerator in the kitchen was a branded Cats popcorn tin, a popcorn bucket, and a cup. Real merchandise.
The kind that would ring you up like $25 at the concession stand.
It's like, yeah, did someone come to this Airbnb in Pittsburgh for the sole purpose of watching Cats? or is the owner just really into cats?
I feel like there's no way that a person living there would have left that shit behind. That is high value shit, my guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, unlike the copy, like 2004 PC copy of World of Warcraft.
And the unopened DVD copy of The Changeling.
Right next to, like, Christian films, like Courageous.
Yeah, it was the Changeling next to, like, Temptation of the Christ, or Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, I wish it was
like
Temptation of the Christ.
And the TV just didn't work. It just was a not functioning television. So, and the furniture was hostile. There's no place to sit. There's two massive Orwellian cameras outside the door as you enter. It is one of the most hostile and uncomfortable environments I've ever been in. And all that to say, none of it adds up to the experience of seeing Space Jam in theaters.
No. That was the true horror. That was the true horror show.
This was only just setting the stage for Warner Brothers' 2021 smash hit film Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Wait, Warner Brothers made this?
I
thought it was Sony.
Let me check. Hold on. Yeah, Warner Brothers, actually.
Oh, okay. There's just nothing in there to, like, identify the film in terms of what studio made it.
Yeah, you could have told me any studio made that.
I'm Al G. Rhythm, and as you might have guessed, I am an algorithm here at Warner Brothers, the studio behind all the classics.
So we saw this at a matinee, like middle of the afternoon, in the outskirts of Pittsburgh with some of my high school friends who, like we said, were falling asleep during this movie. And let me set you the real scene here. We go to the concession stand to get alcohol because we don't want to be completely sober for the whole movie.
I chugged 6 beers before we got to the theater. I gotta be clear about that.
Congrats to you. I couldn't stomach it. I just was feeling gross that day. So we were going to get the beer, and then Aaron goes to check to see if the movie's not started, and he runs out and whisper yells across the theater, "It's starting!" And then six of us just bum rush. One of us holding a Miller Lite in a cup. And just rush into this theater.
We cannot miss a single millisecond of the movie.
Yeah, because we're dedicated journalists, Evan. We're, professional critics.
Yeah, you can't just fucking come to a movie late when you're a pro with an audience of 10s.
As it is, I can't remember most of it, so would it have mattered at all? Probably not, but...
Dude, I will say, I walked in there and just the first thing that hit my eyes was the WB logo. I went, oh, fuck.
So yeah, their new logo sucks.
Yeah, you rushed to get us in so we could, see the Warner Brothers logo, but you didn't have to do that because that was also the rest of the movie.
Yeah, the entire film was just that fucking ugly new Warner Brothers logo screaming for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I wish it was that for 2 hours, but we'll get into when it stops being that and it stops being a movie.
It stops being content at all.
Space Jam: A New Legacy follows the original Space Jam from about 20 years ago, starring Michael Jordan at the height of his fame. And, many sequels have been talked about throughout the years with different athletes. Tony Hawk at one point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. That would have been Dang, I would have voted for that.
Yeah, I'm a big skateboarding and extreme sports guy. I mean, I don't do them, but I liked looking at them when I was a kid.
And then there was one with Tiger Woods that fell through, and then,
Sorry, I didn't know that all of these proposed sequels were revolving around different sports. I think that's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Why did they have to do basketball again? It could have been anything.
It's just straight up conceptually better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should have done a different sport.
Yeah, but then those were canned so they could do back in action, which I like, but flopped really bad.
Yeah.
And set the Looney Tunes back 20 years for this one to come out.
That really is a huge problem with the movie. I guess we'll get into it. It's basketball again. And it's like they try to play with that with meta humor that's just doesn't work at all.
So, you want me, a talking cartoon bunny, to play with you, an NBA superstar, in a high-stakes basketball game? Sounds awfully familiar.
But it's just it's the same premise as the first movie with barely any changes, and one's for the worse, but as far as the overall arcing plot, it's pretty much the same fucking movie.
Yeah, except Bugs says this is the same movie twice, so then you feel like the movie's smart and you can enjoy it now.
So many meta gags. How can it not be well written?
Looney Tunes kind of perfected the meta gag with shorts like Duck Amuck, and here we are with them driving them into the dirt, so I never want to see a meta joke again. Really just awful. There's so little care put into how the Looney Tunes are presented. It doesn't feel like it comes from a place of love, because the original Space Jam is clinical, it's clean, it's very commercial like.
Hey, I think it comes from a place of love. a love of money.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing about the first movie is it's at least the animation is snappy. It feels true to the form. But even here, just seeing them in any form, the Looney Tunes, because you get 2D and 3D, and they both are just horrendous. They don't resemble the characters and love and find funny.
Well, and the thing is that there's a current Looney Tunes show on HBO Max where they look good. It uses a mix of very, very old designs and newer designs, and it just everyone looks how you'd like, and it's fun.
It's a new spin, and it lends well to cartoon action with people being in weird poses and stuff. But this is I don't understand the look that they're going for with this. It's it's just has this polish for the sake of being polished. It's doesn't that look high budget? And it's just
no, actually it doesn't.
It's uncanny in a way that I didn't know could happen with just 2D cartoon designs.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it just even the 2D stuff leaves a sour taste in your mouth. It just ever so slightly off, and I mean the 3D stuff looks like absolute.
Oh my God.
It's an abomination.
Well, if it isn't the old news Looney Tunes, looking just as washed up as ever. You know what? I think it's time for an upgrade.
I just hate so much in my heart that a film is not even allowed to only feature 2D animation. It's a crime now. You have to put in this weird 3D shit, and it's I didn't even like the 2D that much because the designs were bad, but 3D is monstrous.
Yeah, have you ever wanted to see Gossamer with weird simulated realistic fur? So it looks like a fucking creepypasta being described. Yeah, I didn't fucking think so. It's all of them. They all look like that for half of the movie, except Tweety Bird, who somehow manages to be as featherless as a baby's ass. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so smooth.
Yeah, it goes around the other way to just being disturbing. It looks like a Jimmy Neutron render. It's all of it's just fucked up.
Oh, yeah, you looking sharp, Looney Tunes.
All the effects are just like, what is happening? One big effect that really stands out in the second half of the movie is the crowd. You may be aware of this, but the crowd of every Warner Brothers character ever that they have a license to at this moment appear as green screened into a crowd that reacts like the AI crowd in 2K, and it's
it really
just like,
does.
They're always screaming no matter what is going on.
Yeah, that's whatever they're doing is
They
correlating.
also all look like low rent cosplays and not like
yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, it looks like they literally just got cosplayers off the street. So like they got them out of a convention and said, "Here, come be in the movie."
To
like
play Mr. Freeze from
Batman and Robin.
And
or Danny DeVito's Penguin from Batman Returns,
or Alex DeLarge and the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange.
The crowd was actually very extremely Batman heavy. There was like 50 versions of him everywhere. but it was all like specifically stuff from the like movies. I don't think I saw a Riddler or anything like that. I think it was just Mr. Freeze.
I didn't see the Riddler, but I did see the Mask.
Did see the Mask. I guess Jim Carrey couldn't be in two places at once, so it makes sense.
Yeah, you know.
It's but the reason for these characters being here is that this whole film is just an advertisement for Warner Brothers properties. And I guess we just describe the plot a little bit, just get the basic bearings of the plot here. So LeBron James is a dad who is very focused on forming his child into his image. You know, you get so invested into this genius storytelling that has never appeared in cinema before through LeBron James's masterful acting, like Christopher Lee in any production of Hamlet, and seeing the greats on Broadway. Olivier has nothing, absolutely fucking nothing on LeBron James in Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Can't be great without putting in work.
Yeah, William Hurt was nominated for an Oscar for being in a History of Violence. He's only in the movie for like 3 minutes, and thankfully LeBron James is in the entire film.
Well, that by that logic, he should have like 20 Oscars for this movie, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, just give him all the Oscars for the rest of time.
Listen, son, setbacks happen. Adversity is a part of the process, man. But if you're passionate about something, you got to learn how to push through it.
None of it has an emotion.
Yeah, he doesn't know what the tone of any single line is supposed to be. Like, it's actually quite funny. I mean, it wears off once you get used to it. But in the beginning, it was pretty funny.
There's a meta joke about that too, and then it's just like, why did you bring attention to the fact?
Yeah, you really shouldn't be bringing attention to the fact that he's like is delivering some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
Listen, guys, I'm a ball player, and athletes acting, that never goes well.
Yeah, because you'd have to deliver that in like a very winking way, but he just says it incredibly flat, and it's just that made me laugh because it was before I became like disenfranchised to all of this shit going on, because with LeBron's incredible performance, because like Michael Jordan's a little flat in the first one, but he's not. You can tell he knows what emotions he's supposed to generally have.
It doesn't come off as like a foreign actor reading English phonetically, because LeBron, he speaks English, he can read, he can write, he's just like you and me.
It's not like Floyd Mayweather.
It just all comes off like he's never heard a person speak or do anything before.
It's like he's an alien.
He delivers better performances in commercials he's in.
Yeah, I think so.
That's true.
I believe more that he believes that like Sprint Wireless is the best wireless network, more than I believe that he wants his son to become a basketball player. Because the opening of this movie is identical to the original Space Jam, where you have the main basketball player as a child learning a lesson, kind of, I guess. And where in the first one, it's just like Michael Jordan is the Jesus of basketball, which is all you need to know for the movie. This one is trying desperately to start a plot thread that is just painful because he, as a kid, is distracted from playing basketball, but he's playing a video game. And his coach says, no, video game bad, basketball good. And then, just like the first movie as well, it kicks into a opening credit sequence of the basketball player playing basketball, and where in the original Space Jam it's stylized, it's got like weird shots of like VHS footage, so it has this video aesthetic and there's motion and the song is lively and energetic. This has the energy of a fucking funeral.
Yeah, no, it's very solemn and like treats it like LeBron died recently, and it's very weird. It's also very long. I sat there because I kind of had to pee, but I didn't want to miss any of the movie. And then I was like, this seems like a good time. Then I left and I came back, and it was still happening. It was still going on, like as I entered the theater. I don't know if they it needed to have that much length to it.
Yeah, maybe
without changing up.
Maybe that was just trying to set the tone. It was an in memoriam piece to show why he's acting like a fucking zombie the rest of the movie.
They did revive him for this film, like Donald Pleasance in Halloween 6.
The memory of that from his childhood has turned him into a robot that just says video game bad, basketball good. And his son is not very good at basketball. He wants to design video games. And he's like, sorry, kid. Video game bad. Basketball good. And so that's basically the premise. They fight. And one day, LeBron is called into Warner Brothers Studios to get pitched on being a part of a new program that they're doing. And they're going to scan in his likeness and just spit him into whatever the hell they please with content created entirely by an algorithm. And I've never seen a studio self-snitch quite like this.
Super weird. It's also super weird that they cast Sarah Silverman and Stephen Yeun as these characters who have no personalities or like importance. They're just there. And Sarah Silverman kind of makes a joke or two by being like a disgusting corporate creep, but Stephen Yeun doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
He just repeats what she says. I don't know why he's there.
But they're mostly just presented as like, this is what Warner Brothers is. It's not like there's a scene where like, we're going to tear apart the company from the inside because we're evil. This is just presented as like a normal day in Warner Brothers is taking people's souls for eternity.
It's just kind of presented as fact.
And the rest of the movie just reinforces it, because if there's ever anything that has just been a product of like demographic research and marketing, whatever, this is it. How can we make a movie that drives viewers to our streaming service? And that's very transparently what this is an ad for HBO Max.
Yeah, so you know all of the brands Warner Brothers can offer you on the service. I honestly thought that when the algorithm was pitching this concept, I thought he was going to literally say, because he kept being like, oh, he has a new technology or something. I thought they were going to be like, our new technology, HBO Max. And I think I would have respected them more if they had done that.
But yeah, LeBron, when he's going to this pitch meeting to have his likeness taken forever, they just drive through a studio lot that has just, you can tell that they put up just big old green screens on top of these studio buildings so that they could composite in any movie that happened to be coming out this year, get that slate in whenever the movie actually comes out, just slot it in. So setting the scene, but then inside the studio, in the evil server room, there is the algorithm named Al G Rhythm, played by masterful Don Cheadle.
I'm stuck inside the Serververse. No one knows who I am or what I do. But that all changes today.
Who is really just the highlight of this movie.
Yeah, he's the best part. He's just hamming
it up, but in a good way, yeah.
Because everyone else is trying too hard.
Yeah, he's not just... Everyone else is not shit posting. And
yeah.
Don Cheadle is smart enough to shit post throughout the film. And
yeah, I guess it's hard to tell if LeBron is trying or not. Do you think this is effort from him? You think?
Yeah, I can't tell at all. Actually, because if it is, that's really sad.
I honestly, if I had to make a guess, I'd say that when he's doing a commercial and they're just like, say brand, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it with Sprint. But with this, they were like, you gotta act, and that made his brain trip out.
Oh, yeah.
So like, if there wasn't the pressure to act, I think he would have just said lines, which is what Michael Jordan did. But I think there was like, you gotta carry this shit, and he just cannot function with that. So he's just like, he's making like weird facial expressions. It seems like he's like having an aneurysm sometimes, trying to like act.
It's like, you are my son. I love you so much. I love you, son. You are my son.
Stop playing those video games.
Why do you remember the dialogue in this movie?
Do you understand how much I love you? Do you understand how important you are to me? How very special you are?
Wow, honey. Our son is a failure. I'm going to turn on HBO Max on our Roku device to watch my favorite programs such as The Sopranos, The Wire,
Friends,
and Game of Thrones.
I like that they go past Game of Thrones world and reference Game of Thrones like 40 times, but they don't actually go on
they didn't go in
it.
Yeah, so the Serververse, we should explain, is where Al G Rhythm resides, and this is where he takes control of the Warner archive pretty much. And he's doing deals within. He's moving characters throughout their worlds and whatever, and each property is represented by a planet. So you've got Game of Thrones planet, you've got Harry Potter planet, and those are the two most emphasized ones. Never actually see those planets.
No, they don't go there. LeBron's like, oh shit, Harry Potter.
I fucking love Harry Potter. Me, LeBron James. I love Harry Potter.
Is that Harry Potter world? Awesome.
It's just morbid. The thing is, Kingdom Hearts shows the same concept, where every movie is like a weird pocket universe planet thing, but it just comes off better in that.
Well, I think the thing that makes Kingdom Hearts come off better is like, okay, this is a game designed for awkward 12-year-old girls.
Mm-hmm. And that's why my sisters liked it.
And this is designed for everyone, but I can't see it appealing to anyone. Because it's just an ad. Because the Serververse is just like, these people are zooming through advertisements. Look at the thing you can watch on HBO Max right now, which, by the way, this movie is streaming on at the same time as in theaters.
Go subscribe.
Yeah. So it's like, I gotta say, because LeBron is like, it's a fucking awful idea to include me in all this shit. I don't want to be in these movies. It's artificially inserted in these movies. It's cringe. So that's what pisses off our villain, Al G Rhythm, to initiating the story.
So LeBron and his son are fighting in the Warner Brothers lot, and Algae Rhythm like coaxes them into this mystical server room, and they're fighting because like the kid wants to go to video game making camp or whatever the hell, and it's the same week as basketball camp.
I really like the TMZ headline of LeBron James is fighting with his son in the Warner Brothers lot. With like a blurred image of him like suplexing his child.
And this scandalous, earth-shaking feud that they're having leads them to being sucked into the Serververse, where they are nothing but a toy for Don Cheadle to play with. And he's like, LeBron, you're going to be in this forever unless you beat me at basketball. Which, you know, an evil guy would just be like, I'm going to give the hero out before anything happens. I'm not going to let him come to that conclusion. I'm just going to, you know, give him an out immediately. One of the greatest basketball players of all time? Sure.
Algae Rhythm kidnaps LeBron's son.
Just to sweeten the pot,
Just
I
to
guess?
sweeten the pot, yeah.
He tries to steal the son's video game code. He is very sneakily befriending the kid so then he can win by using the video game code for a basketball video game he has created.
Right, and that's the major, I guess, difference between this and the first Space Jam is that it's not just a regular basketball game with standard rules. It's like this weird video game that LeBron's child has created that has all these crazy rules. LeBron finds it difficult to adapt to this new game.
Yeah, it's NBA 3-on-3 that you can download on your PS4, except there's some power-ups in it. Yeah, he also describes that he's like almost done with the game, but he hasn't put any characters in it. It's like, in what order did you build this game?
Yeah, this is filled with like weird nonsense tech, which is just a weird thing to do with a movie that is so leaning into, you know, digital stuff like the Serververse, and it works better in the first movie when it's just like, the Looney Tunes live in Hollow Earth and they magically transport people in and out, and there's aliens that are fighting them.
I never thought of it like they live in Hollow Earth, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I guess they're Titans from the Monster.
Yeah, Titans. That's pretty fucking dope, actually.
Yeah.
But now the fun of that is sucked out by them just living in a computer.
The Serververse.
Yeah, and then once this competition is made up and he kidnaps his son, it's just like he just gets dumped to Looney Tunes world.
Yeah.
And he passed all the other worlds, and he just lands in, and wacky shit's going on, and it's just like but the sign outside says population 1. So you're intrigued by this interesting new element and this mystery that's been set up by Space Jam 2.
Where is this going to go? I hope it's resolved in the next minute because I'm so intently focused on this mystery. But it follows the same format of Looney Tunes Back in Action, where the Looney Tunes are rejects and misfits of the Warner Brothers archive.
I had my fists just like grabbing my hair. I would have just started screaming if I didn't figure out what was going on in the next 60 seconds.
LeBron wanders through the town and he finds Bugs Bunny, and it turns out all the Looney Tunes have left him to sign different contracts with other universes and live within the context of other movies, just one of them apiece. A normal thing that would totally happen. Then look out for HBO Max with a new Matrix movie starring Speedy Gonzalez and Grandma. Because this kicks into a sequence where you just see Looney Tunes rotoscoped into scenes from movies you
just
like. You recognize that?
It's just footage from movies. Like, it's not even like they go to Mad Max world and it's literally just exact footage from Mad Max Fury Road.
And also, like the Matrix, I said, and
Casablanca. This is a really fucking weird pull.
Sing it, Sam. You got baggage, lady. I can relate.
I don't know why it bothers me so much, but Peter Lorre, who's an old horror actor, because he has a weird fucking face with huge eyes, is heavily featured in old
What are you
Looney Tunes
saying
skits.
about me?
And he's in Casablanca, so it's like a free joke to have this guy who's in both Looney Tunes and Casablanca, and they don't fucking do it. They have 1,000 references per second, and they can't get that one out. Fucking fake fans at Warner Brothers.
And it's really hard to underline how bad these scenes are.
Yeah. It's non-10. It's a black hole.
This was like the happiest I was with the movie because it was cancer. It was just like...
At least you felt something.
Yeah, it was like miserable fucking dog shit. And it's like, yes, this is what I expected. I expected them to assault me with brands and just fucking did like just shit all over things I like, and they were doing it, and like it was upsetting, but yeah, I was alive. I felt like I was alive.
It was a low in our life, but at least, you know, it felt like we were like about to overdose on heroin or something.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
That's a good like little blurb for your certified fresh review on Rotten Tomatoes.
You know, Pittsburgh opioid crisis, we got in on it with Space Jam: A New Legacy. Relive the 90s in multiple ways with Space Jam: A New Legacy.
That's such a bad title. Like, why? A New Legacy is just so lame.
And it's like, what's the legacy? Like, it's just the same fucking movie again.
Yeah. No, just call it Space Jam 2. Just fucking do it. Like, come on.
Because Bugs is just going through these movies collecting his friends who have left him to rot in Looney Tunes worlds because, you know, Looney Tunes is a long forgotten relic of a time forgotten, and no one knows who these characters are. Daffy Duck, never heard of him. Elmer Fudd, who the fuck? God, okay. Pretend I didn't say that. But
my goodness.
You better keep that in.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
But Bugs Bunny is selfishly collecting these characters, even though LeBron's like, I want the best characters in the Warner Brothers universe.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta have King Kong, I gotta have Superman and Batman and all the best and most physically fit characters that the universe Serververse has to offer.
Gotta make a list. We're gonna need the most powerful Warner Brothers characters for this team.
LeBron, like, very reasonably is like, you know, the entire world is at stake here, so I kind of just want to pick up a crew of guys who will insta-win. Like, I want my son back. So, you know, Superman will insta-win this game. Fucking King Kong will insta-win this game. But Bugs is just, like, lingering because he can't deal with the fact that his friends left and is, like, trying to force them back into his sphere to bring them back as moons orbiting his giant ego.
Yeah, listen, Doc. Try not to get your hopes up too much. You might not be able to get all those top guys for the team. This ain't the Miami Heat, you know.
You know what? I feel like the problem with this is, like, Bugs Bunny is the one doing this, and he's the first Looney Tune that LeBron meets because he's the main Looney Tune. Everyone knows who that is. When it's like, this is something Daffy Duck would do, or a number of other characters. But instead it's Bugs being like this weird asshole.
Yes, Daffy would pathetically try to bring all of his friends back, for sure. And yeah, it feels like they're trying to build like an arc of like Dad LeBron, King James can't fucking, let go of his dreams for his son and like the version of his son that he wants, and Bugs can't let go of like what life used to be like and everyone else has, but he is hanging on, and it seems like they're gonna like do something with that because they emphasize it so much in this like 5-minute part of the movie, and it is not a plot point for either of them. Bugs is just shitting it up, ruining everything for no reason, and LeBron is just there to say, I love Warner Brothers properties.
And where you expect Bugs to face consequences or anything, this is where, the movie would continue being a new thing. But then this is the point, really, where it's just, this is the same movie again. This is where any sort of different thing that separates this from the original Space Jam disappears. And it just becomes Space Jam, but worse.
No, because when they're getting everybody... you feel the degenerate cancer, especially when Rick and Morty show up.
We're done running tests on your badger thing. It turns out his condition is irreversible. I'll never erase what I saw from my brain.
Yeah, that's upsetting. But once that ends, it's just, we're gonna do the training shit from Space Jam. You know how it is, guys. The movie completely the movie shrugs its shoulders at you and is like, yep, this is all it is now.
I do like how the plot of this, where they collect all the different Looney Tunes from each different world, is essentially the same plot we pitched for the Paramount Plus movie.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yes.
We had no idea, really.
But the thing is, the thing that's so upsetting is that in the Paramount Plus movie, as we pitched it, when they go to the different worlds, they like learns new information that like builds the story.
That's
and
true.
They like in the new characters influence like their path and stuff, and it's like, oh, we need a spaceship, so we got to go get to these guys. And
yeah, but in this, they just go to the worlds and it's, hey, look at these characters. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, they just superimpose characters over footage, and nothing is learned. And, and despite the fact that they apparently abandoned Bugs, none of them are like, no, I don't want to come along, or anything.
They all just willingly... it's like they don't even acknowledge that was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Well, that happened.
It's so weird.
This is where it's a problem, because this Serververse, this format of world that they're in, lends itself to this adventure movie like we pitched with Paramount Plus, and we came into that with the assumption of basic storytelling. But instead of doing this thing where like it slowly builds up and then maybe the basketball game is the climax, just the climax, this follows the sports movie formula like the first one does, where the first half is getting the team together and then the second half is the game. But the first Space Jam, get this, is like 85 minutes long with credits. This one is approaching 2 hours long. So it is just an hour of them playing basketball in front of these Warner Brothers characters. And the game itself is poorly told. Like the flow of it is just strange and just... It hits all the same beats, but worse.
It's because it has all the weird video game rules and power-ups, so it's just a free excuse for them to just not have it flow or make sense at all.
Yeah, wait, did you guys not like the 3 different times Lola gets wrapped around by the weird snake lady, and they just have the same interaction 3 separate times with no changes?
Yeah, it's so repetitive, and it's just like, okay, Don Cheadle is controlling the other team and giving them special powers through this video game code. So like there's a spider lady, there's a guy who's a bird, there's a guy who's water and fire, who's called Wet Hot or something.
Bugs Bunny gonna need a rabbit's foot against this guy, Wet Fire?
Oh, because he's wet and he's fire. that's kind of brilliant.
They should have got Shaq to sponsor Icy Hot.
Yeah.
You know, actually, it would have been cool if they got some more brand name basketball players, like in the original Space
instead
Jam.
of nobodies.
Yeah, you don't get the name brand basketball players, but you do get the name brands. You get plenty of Nike, Beats by Dre.
The fucking Nike shit is wild. LeBron comedically, Looney Tunes falls in craters, but the crater, instead of being shaped like his outline or a joke, it's shaped like the fucking Nike logo. And it was just like, I just could not believe that they did it.
That was one of the biggest, mouth agape moments in the all the stuff that popped us was with condensed into 20 minutes of the film before we entered our K-hole for the rest of the movie. But it's that Warner Brothers, one of the screenwriters just pitched that and Nike didn't have to say a word, and they're like, well, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah. It's awesome, guys. You really killed it, Scary Movie 5 guy.
We should note how bad the directing in this movie, the visual language of this movie is. Specifically the real world stuff, because it just feels like it's shot like reality television, just multicam.
Yes. I really like the cowboy shots that crop the head a little bit. It's not an incredibly insane thing to do.
This is a big budget Hollywood movie, but all the shots are framed like they had 2 seconds to set them before things started happening, or we're framing it as things we're picking up like it's reality TV. It's just too much headroom, too little headroom. It just rapidly shifts, and it's just an insane thing. And there's near jump cuts. The color correction makes it look like a commercial. The acting makes it feel like a commercial. It's absurd.
The plot makes it feel like a commercial.
I mean, the plot is a commercial, Evan. That's the difference.
So, the first one was directed by a guy who does commercials. I think they took that and ran with it way too far. It just made this whole movie a literal fucking commercial.
Yeah, the entire film. Okay. No, it stops being anything. It's not even a commercial in the back half. It just is nothing at all.
It's a commercial for basketball players you have never heard of in your entire life who also can't act.
I just wish, because the thing is that, I can almost respect the cancerous brand integration in the, I wish they just did more shit with the stupid brand garbage, but it's so fucking lazy. None of it's tied together. It doesn't make sense. They just rush through to going, hey, look at this, hey, look at this, hey, look at this. Okay, it's over. We're done. Now here's basketball for an hour. They should have actually shown a clock so that the basketball game is exactly as long as a real one.
Yeah.
So in the first one, their stakes are set. These are alien monster freaks who have the souped up version of incredible basketball players' talent.
They steal it from their bodies.
Yeah, it doesn't change. This is something that, over time they have to overcome. But this one, it's just this repetitive back and forth of the Looney Tunes get better, and then the other team cheats in some way because they can change the code or whatever. And it's with that much, disregard for anything, just makes it feel I don't know. I get that a villain is supposed to be unfair. It's supposed to be mean and evil, but it just feels so hopeless that it's they shouldn't come out on top. I don't care. This is annoying.
No. What's up with that, Pete? You can't move the basket like that, man. That's cheating.
No, you can. You can move the basket.
Yeah, no, Don Cheadle's character starts getting go away heat as it progresses. Because at first you get some proper heel heat. You might even just kind of enjoy him, but it's not Don Cheadle's fault. But his character just becomes so fucking annoying. Because it just repetitively does the same shit. His motivations don't even really. I don't really get what he's trying to do. He's like just vaguely trying to humiliate LeBron James, but then he's also going to disintegrate a million people.
Yeah.
For, nothing.
He just wants to make LeBron James feel like a moron for rejecting his idea, and also wants to murder countless civilians.
Yeah. In the middle of the game, he half of the court is filled with Warner Brothers properties, including The Nun from Ken Russell's The Devils, but then the other side of the court is filled with people who get beamed in because they're streaming the game, presumably on HBO Max. They're all beamed in, which is weird enough as it is, but then Don Cheadle's like, yeah, LeBron, if you lose, these people are just gonna live here.
If King James wins, you all get to go back to your regular, boring lives. But if my team wins, you all get to stay with me in the Serververse forever.
And I don't know what the hell he could even want with just normal-ass people existing in the Serververse.
Yeah,
other than being good for selling stock footage, because that's clearly what most of the audience is.
Don Cheadle's motivations are so unclear.
Yeah, and it's actually very Looney Tunes for him to be like an incredibly pathetic, like just wants to like shit on a person who made him feel bad once, like thing. But yeah, he's that for 5 seconds, and then it's like, I don't know what he's doing. I would have liked it if he was just a straight-up rival to LeBron. That was all the stakes were, I want to ruin your life because you ruined mine, because they don't want to use me anymore, or whatever. They lost some faith in me because you think I'm stupid.
LeBron's
so
like, in the meeting,
stupid.
he's like, no, I'm not going to do the AI. Your AI's stupid. And that triggers the whole thing to Don Cheadle committing digital suicide, genocide.
Yeah. The Sarah Silverman and Stephen Yang executives are like, okay, yeah, we're going to delete him. He's done forever since you think that way. You're right, dude. And then Don Cheadle's like, well, okay, I guess I'm going AWOL.
I'm going to kill everyone. And, like, midway through, it's like he actually gets a good motivation because the son character, he has developed this thing specifically for this game for whatever reason, that you can scan a person's full body and likeness within seconds and just have it, their essence pretty much digitally for forever. And Don Cheadle steals it, and that turns out to be like the most valuable thing. But in the end, he still gets away with that. So really, he wins still, I guess.
Also, it's just incredibly weird to me because the kid's game is like the super cartoony weird thing, but he just wants to scan people like 1-to-1 into the game. And it's like, that's just fucking weird, man. Like, yeah, that's aesthetically terrible. Maybe he designed the visuals for the film.
This is like the video game design equivalent of that website where you just pretend to type and it looks like code is appearing on your screen. Like, that's the level of logic we're dealing with video games, and that's what the entire movie hinges on as well. Can you tell that this movie was written by like 5 or 6 people, you guys?
No, I think it was the director's singular vision.
Yeah, it just feels like this script is like, just, you feel like each draft was a completely different thing that tried to make it into a new thing, and then it just all got lost along the way to become the mess that we saw in theaters.
No, it's incredibly inconsistent and repetitive, and it's just like it vaguely tries to have an arc, but it doesn't really convey it well. You don't really like feel a good progression. It's just like for some reason, LeBron James is like, we're going to beat a Hydro Man with fundamental basketball. And the Looney Tunes are like, no, we want to do our thing. And he's like, no.
Outside these lines, be as loony as you want. But inside, you do what I say.
And I get it. He wants to let his kid do his thing. But, like, it feels stupid because he won't, like, he doesn't even articulate, like, why he thinks this will work or anything. He's just like, he just does it to vaguely hold to the theme, and then he just kind of stops doing it.
This is like an instance where just being stupid and just throwing away the idea of having a traditional narrative is okay.
Yes.
Because it worked in Space Jam, where Michael Jordan is Jesus, and the Looney Tunes need Jesus. And then they get him, and then they win the basketball game, and they defeat the bad guys. And that is A-okay.
Yeah.
Yes. No, the problem is that they hint at arcs and waste time on them to then not really do anything with them. And so you can just make this a stupid basketball brand story. That's it. Like, I'd like it better. And also be 30 minutes shorter, which would just make it a better film.
Why does every movie need to be 2 hours? Make all movies 90 minutes. Petition.
Let's go back. Like, seriously, like, I was in town with the family for the week. I was like, oh, something to kill time. Maybe we'll see Black Widow. It's like, oh, no. I'm not clearing 2 hours and 15 minutes plus all the other stuff that goes with going to the theaters to watch Black Widow. Like, just stop making movies this long.
Yeah, I honestly miss in the earlier days of cinema when a movie was allowed to be like 57 minutes long.
Oh, yeah. Get that Dumbo length movie in there.
Yeah, like some of the older Vincent Price movies are like 63 minutes. It's like, yes. Thank you.
Yes, I love a good Marx Brothers clean 70 minutes runtime.
Mm-hmm.
You get what you want, you get out, and you can even watch more things then, I guess, if that's what you want to do. Or move about your day like a functioning person in society. I can't picture that, but you could do that too.
Yeah, that sounds fucking crazy.
It sounds cringe to be TBH.
And speaking of cringe, in the game, all they do is repeat old Looney Tunes gags. Once they're allowed to be wacky, they just do old Looney Tunes gags.
Yeah.
In like a bad, poorly paced format.
Yeah, because when LeBron meets Bugs for the first time, it's literally just like, we're going to run through the greatest hits of Looney Tunes. And at least that part was visually imitating like the works of Chuck Jones and Tex Avery, like with framing and the way that the gags are told. But then the game is just, we're gonna shoot this. The camera placement doesn't fucking matter. They're playing basketball, and it makes no fucking sense. It's nonsense
for a whole fucking hour.
Well, the thing is that then after 4 hours of fictional basketball, they just get to this point where LeBron has been like, in a little feud with his son who's working for Don Cheadle and is on the other team. And the son eventually is like, Don Cheadle seems kind of like he might be bad.
He seemed like he might be a
imposter.
Psychopath. Like a comedically evil villain.
So he's like, oh, I probably should, like, be on my dad's side. And then he teams up with his dad, and Don Cheadle's like, what the fuck, bro? I thought we were friends. And then he becomes a CGI basketball player. Like, just big.
Did you see that? Uh-huh. The man just grew like 5 feet.
Like, I honestly thought it'd been funnier if they, like, made him, like, take the form of like a real basketball player, like someone famous or something.
Like, no, but he's like, just Don Cheadle.
And he's just big, like really big. And then they just, the bad guy looks like he's going to take the win because he's big and strong now, and he's breaking LeBron's ankles and shit. And then at the very beginning of the movie, the kid, in one of the bigger scenes of, like, what do you think technology is, he's playing his game, and he's like, Dad, I programmed it so he does the thing you do. And then he does his, like, signature move, and then the character glitches out, and then just evaporates.
My entire character is gone. It's gonna take me at least a week to rebuild this.
It's like, what? I don't think that's how that works.
Oh, the game glitched, so, there's just a fucking hole in the game
so
disc
it's
now.
fucking gone.
Yeah. And so they set that up at the beginning in a cringe way where you're like, okay, I know that's gonna come back. Which is, that's fine. More things should come back in the movie. But they fucking, they're gonna lose. So he's like, LeBron is like, oh, let me do my signature move to win. That's styling. I'll get 1 million style points for that or whatever in this fake basketball game. And his son's like, no, but you'll glitch out and be erased forever.
Because we're like, in the game.
Yeah, because we're EA Sports in the game, and I can't lose you, Dad. And then he's like, no, son, I gotta save this 16 billion people who have been stolen by Algae Rhythm, and so they can go back to the real world with Lil Rel. And
who is the commentator for the game for some reason.
Lil Rel? Man, what are you doing here?
And then Bugs Bunny is like, no, I'll do it. Like, I'll be the one who makes the sacrifice. Which seems like it'd be a payoff to him being a piece of shit and then being called out for being a piece of shit. And then he's like, okay, I gotta make up for the fact that I loaded your team with people who suck. So here we go. But he just does it to do it. And he does the move, and he gets fucking erased from existence as he does it and saves everyone and wins the game. And earlier when he does the move in his video game at home, it says posterized and does like a shitty wanted poster.
Ooh, posterized.
Posterized?
Of like the person shooting, and then
of the person who lost, I think.
Yeah, and then Don Cheadle becomes the poster and then evaporates.
Yeah, it's just like pulling from these two things that you knew were being set up for something at the beginning of the movie. But it's just like, this is so stupid. How could this come back? And then it does, and you're like, that's even worse.
Yeah, that's worse than I could have imagined.
I just feel insulted. Normally when I see something come back, I'm like, oh, I was paying attention and I'm being rewarded. But this time it was just like, did you really have to, like, punch my dog in front of me?
Yeah. And he just fucking yeah. So they just win the game. The bad guy vaguely dies ish, and and Bugs Bunny fucking dies and becomes the North Star. And it's just like, okay, sure. And then it cuts back as everyone gets sent back to the real world, and LeBron brings his kid to the basketball camp established at the beginning, and he's like, "Oh, it's time, son." And his son's like, "Yeah, I'll do this for you, Dad." And then he's like, "Oh, well, why'd you bring your basketball?" And he's like, "Oh, for basketball camp." He's like, "But dude, this is E3's kids game camp."
Just like you wanted.
Oh shit. And yeah,
oh,
and
Dad, I would have brought my hard drive. I would have brought my
PC.
keyboard, my laptop,
my Razer keyboard.
They don't supply you with your own computer here, Dad.
I'm kind of fucked. They're not going to let me in the door.
All I have is my Nikes. Well, son, sometimes that's all you need. As he looks at the camera and says Nike.
Yeah, after he does that, Bugs Bunny appears
for no reason.
Just walks into frame.
Literally no fucking reason. It's
There's no explanation.
No, yeah, and he's like, "What the fuck? Why are you alive?" And he's like, "I told you, Looney Tunes can't die."
I'm a toon, Doc. I can survive anything.
That's it. Okay, that implies that LeBron reacts. He's just like, "Oh, Bugs, what's up, dude?"
Yeah, you're right. No, he doesn't. He does not
Bugs
actually
Bunny-
logically respond.
It's good to see you, buddy.
Bugs Bunny comes into the real world for the first time in the movie, like unprecedented. And it's just like, yeah, okay. The guy I thought was dead and is a fictional character is just here. This is awesome. Let's go get a fucking Fortnite burger from McDonald's, Bugs.
Let's go get a Mr. Beast burger.
And they all start flossing.
That would be a better ending than them just walking away.
It just kind of non-ends. I don't know what it is with every fucking movie that's targeted at children.
It doesn't have an ending.
It has a character die and then not be dead 4 seconds later. Or it's like,
for
why
no
did you
reason.
even
It's like, at least
bother
just
to
give it
do
a dumb explanation. Saying the line that Bugs gives about him not being able to die is not a reason.
I told you, I'm a toon, Doc. I can survive anything.
It's just terrible, and the movie just kind of like shits its pants and falls down, and then the credits roll, and
then I clapped.
And then everyone in the theater, all 415 of us, stood up and clapped.
I mean, maybe I wasn't paying attention. I was running. I wanted out of that theater as fast as possible. The last half put me in such a bad mood.
Yeah.
Like, we had no idea what, like, the experience would be like going into this because we didn't hear much about it because we saw it opening weekend. It just ruined our fucking day, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I went in looking for schlock, like, after chugging beers, and it gave it to me for, like, a little bit. But then it just kind of goes away.
Then it just proceeded to suck our souls right out of our bodies.
Yeah. I would have accepted this being, like, awful corporate dog shit if it, like, even tried to be, like, fun for the family. It's just it's just boring, and it doesn't feel like anybody involved, like, wanted it to be fun. It's just like, yeah, it's just content. It's just algorithmically produced content for a streaming service.
Despite there being, like, weird meta jokes about content being produced by an algorithm.
Did they think that this would be like, people would think this would be so good that they'd be like, there's no way they actually use an algorithm to come up with the new things on HBO Max. This is awesome. I wish I wish I lived in Soprano world in the Serververse.
Where was Blade Runner world? Damn it!
Where was Godzilla world?
Yeah,
Toho would not allow that.
No, they
Thank God.
Yeah, our boy does not have to be tarnished with this shit. I see this prominent opinion on the internet right now about this movie, where if you're like, oh, this is dog shit, people are like, well, the original was dog shit, and it's like the original was brand trash, but it's like, yeah, it was a brand commercial film.
Not nearly on the same level.
No.
Yes, not at all. Also, there were funny parts. Sometimes.
Yeah, also, it's just a pretty good movie, and you should shut the fuck up because you're wrong.
Yeah, shut up. It's a fun movie. The thing is that movie is directed a little flat, but, like, it doesn't hurt me on the inside to look at like this does.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was painful, it's 84 minutes.
Yeah.
It gets you in and out. It gives you what you want. It's like, this is a movie that pleased people in the 90s, and you can still enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
It accomplished something.
If anything, watching Space Jam 2 just made me want to watch the first one again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A movie that, like, is fun on any level. Like, I just put stuff in here, like, make sequences so that I feel like I'm watching a movie. Like, someone else described this, like, the parts with when they go to the worlds as feeling like just mindlessly scrolling through TikTok, where it's like everything lasts like 10 seconds. It is just like...
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. I saw a review on Letterboxd that just said, this is the emoji movie for the TikTok generation, which I agree with, because it's just an ad.
Yeah. I feel like some of the brand placement in the Emoji Movie may have been more tactful than this.
Well, the Emoji Movie does some of the stuff that we talk about. Like, it does some of the, like, oh, I learned something at this brand.
Oh, yeah.
And I carry
it has
it to
a plot.
this brand. Yeah. It's not just a sequence of referential images. I just want to like. I would love a Looney Tunes movie, guys. Like, where you don't do this shit.
Just Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
doing Looney Tunes stuff
for a movie. Like, they have like a fun plot. They like do some goofy shit, and it's just like, yep, there we go. And it's like 80 minutes.
Yeah,
with credits.
No, instead they're being implicated as the face of this horrendous crime against cinema. Is like the only reason that is because Space Jam is a thing people recognize, and it's a nostalgic property that can get your young adults and the middle-aged people, and they can bring their kids because, like, oh, I remember the first Space Jam, and then little did they know it's ad for HBO Max, and then it's like, oh, maybe my kids would like to watch Casablanca with me.
I'm sure they would.
Let's have a family night and watch Ken Russell's The Devils. So in conclusion, guys, do we recommend Space Jam? Okay, this movie's a piece of shit. Like, I encourage you not to even click on this in streaming if you haven't seen it. Like, wow. This should not be, like, reinforced in any way.
No, don't waste your time.
Look up a couple clips on YouTube for fun, if you want. They're all there. Like, if you want to see Rick and Morty be cringe for 30 seconds, it's there. Just don't watch it on HBO Max. Don't watch the whole film, for sure.
Yeah, don't play into... This is exactly what they want. So, like... I just don't want to ever see anything resembling this again. And by reinforcing it with your views, it just welcomes in more.
Yeah.
Well, just watch the first Space Jam.
If you're a fan of puppeting your childhood around in front of you in a macabre display of necromancy, you might like the Bargain Binge podcast, which is what you've been listening to.
Hopefully.
You can find our website at bargainbingepod.com. That's where all of our podcatcher links are. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. Leave us a nice review on Apple while you're at it. Also on the website, we have links to purchase our merchandise. We've got stickers that are from us directly. And we have t-shirts with all your favorite gags that you love. All of our listeners, the thousands, the millions.
Yeah, I know you love Fat Deado. I know you want a shirt branded with Fat Deado.
Show the world your love for Fat Deado.
All those paparazzi pictures are going to show celebrities wearing
Fat
Deado shirt. Justin Bieber's going to be wearing that.
Quentin Tarantino walked out of his house to get his paper or whatever. He's wearing a Fat Deado shirt with a fucking Bargain Binge hoodie. Fucking Wyatt Duncan hat, Garf Gab hat. If you want streetwear, go to our website. It's very popular with the kids. Trust me, do not look it up.
If you want to be the coolest kid in your high school, then grab some of our merch.
Everyone will think you're really sick. You will be able to bring the coolest gamer girls to the prom if you wear our merchandise to your math class.
Also, check us out on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Isn't it nice? Aren't those images pretty? Don't you like that I put so much time into it?
Like,
don't you like that we have content for you to click on?
Engage.
Subscribe.
Engage. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Bargain Binge Pod. Next week on the show, we will be covering something very special. And here's a clip of me pulling that.
My first pick is 4 Laugh Out Loud comedy collection with Adam Sandler featuring 50 First Dates, Click, Big Daddy, and Mr. Deeds.
It's exciting. 10th episode spectacular.
Woo!
Big, important stuff going on here. But until next week, I'm dead inside.
Yep. You should have put Jackie Legs in this movie.
Fuck!
Alright, then yeah, what the fuck? Where was he?
Where was he? From Canarsie?
Warner Bros. Answer me that. You fucking cowards.
Yeah, it's been us, Dylan, Evan, and Aaron, signing off so we can get the fuck away from this film and never discuss it again.
Goodbye,
This is
folks.
the price we pay for trying to be topical. I hope you're all happy.
You fucking forced us to do this.
Michael Jordan's real family played themselves in the first one.
Oh, so you looked this up?
I didn't.
Do you know this?
Isn't that the case?
I'm not certain.
I'm pretty sure it's his. Maybe I'm wrong.
I have no fucking idea. I thought this was LeBron's family for way too long.
I think
shit! Wait, no. I said Michael Jordan's family, not.
No, I know.
Yeah, but is that true?
Space
Maybe I'm
Jam.
horribly wrong.
Let's just not talk about the family. We have to wrap this up anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I was right. So I don't even think we've brought it up as of yet because it's so inconsequential to the plot. But Algae Rhythm traps LeBron's family in the Serververse as well as all these other random people, and it just struck me. I was like, wow, LeBron's family is so much better at acting than he is. Because I guess I was assuming that they were his real family as Michael Jordan's real family plays themselves in the first Space Jam.
But I don't think that's I don't think that's Michael Jordan's family.
Okay, we're scrapping the whole thing.
I looked at
Eric Gordon as Marcus Jordan, Penny Bay Bridges as Jasmine Jordan. I don't think that's his family.
Oh, what the fuck? What did I?
What are you looking at?
Manor Washington as Jeffrey. None of these people are named Jordan.
All right, never mind.
Scrap the bit.
God damn it.